Alima, we're locked down.
Clear.
If there was one developer on the PSP that surprised me more than just about anyone else, it was surely Sony Bend. That studio was able to make 3 absolutely incredible video games I never thought possible on a portable system, and their skills only improved as time went on. While Ready at Dawn is another studio that really impressed me, there was something just magical about Sony Bend that hasn't been replicated since. So for the next few weeks, we're going to take a look at 3 different games developed by Sony Bend for the PSP. The first game we're looking at today is Syphon Filter Dark Mirror, which hit back in 2006. I remember being incredibly skeptical of the game because the previous Syphon Filter game, the Omega Strain on the PlayStation 2, was anything but impressive. See, the Syphon Filter series was one of those series that started off really strong with the original game, but with each successive release, they were getting worse and worse. The series pretty much bottomed out with the Omega Strain, and I was really concerned that Dark Mirror would just be flat out garbage, but boy was I mistaken. I also remember the fact that I didn't even want to purchase this game, but Sony sent us a review copy, and I figured, well, I have no choice but to review it, and I think that's another reason why I was just so floored, because I had zero expectations for this game. The first thing that surprised me was the story. It seamlessly ties into what came before, but also acts as a great entry point for newcomers. You play as Gabe Logan, who is a counter-terrorist specialist. He and his team travel the world taking out the bad guys. Okay, there's a little more to it than just that, but even though the story isn't overly complex, it's the cutscenes, the dialogue, and the way Gabe speaks with his team that leaves a lasting impression. To be honest, the overall story or narrative isn't all that impressive, but it's the sheer quality of the way the story is told that is. The way the game is put together feels almost like a AAA console release. The graphics and audio are outstanding and hold up really well some 10 years after the game was originally released. It looks brilliant on the PSP screen, and even blown up and put on your HD TV, it still looks pretty good. The next big surprise came in the form of the controls. Hands down, this is a dual analog video game, yet it controls very, very well with the default controls. Do they take some getting used to? Absolutely, but they work. One of the biggest omissions with the original PSP design was the fact that there was only one analog stick or nub, and I never understood why that was. The PlayStation 2 was a runaway success by the time the PSP was designed, so clearly developers would have wanted a second stick. Whatever the case may be, Sony Bend came up with a really creative solution. The left nub is used to move Gabe around, and the X, square, circle, and triangle buttons are used to move the reticule around the screen. So think of it like moving your body in the plus directions, and then using the face buttons in order to look around. And if you've played the N64 before, well, you'll understand more or less how this works. It's certainly not perfect, but it's surprising just how well it does work. With aim assist on, you can easily plow through the game without too many mistakes. That's another area where the game shines, in its gameplay. Each mission has a set of objectives you need to complete, standard stuff. You can be all stealth-like, or you can go in guns blazing, the choice is yours. There are a variety of weapons and special goggles at your disposal. Each is specifically suited for a specific task, and mixing and matching them up will guarantee success. Gabe can also hug walls, peek around corners, and much, much more. There's a nice mix of gameplay variety thanks to the inclusion of elements like gun turrets and just overall different mission objectives. One of the big problems with PSP games were their load times, but even that was tackled with care at Sony Bend. Missions have one initial load time and that's it, and some of the missions can be fairly long. There's also an autosave checkpoint system that works great for gaming on the go. And as I always say, you can always use the Psp Sleep Mode if you're in a bind. That feature was often ignored in the past, and I never understood why, because it's used so frequently today on the Vita and the 3DS. Back in the day, this game supported a wide assortment of both local and online multiplayer modes, but today you'd pick this bad boy up to see what the PSP could do in capable hands, for an incredible single-player experience. Syphon Filter Dark Mirror comes very highly recommended for portable gaming fans, and while it's true there was a PlayStation 2 port of the game, I would still go with the PSP original just to see how impressive it really is.